Hi guys, and welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for watching the video. My name is Louisa. For those that it's the first time, simply known as simply Louisa. But if it's not the first time that you're watching, then welcome back to another video. If you're not subscribed, please be sure to click the subscribe button, like the video, comment, share it with everyone you know. I'm trying to get to 200 subscribers, so please get it done for me. But thank you so much to everyone who subscribed. Main goal was to get to 100, and now we're above 100, so I'm very happy. Thank you so much for subscribing, and I hope that you like my content. This is going to be a very simple video. I was asked to share a bit more about my pregnancy. I have been sharing about my pregnancy, apparently, actually, from I've written a bit about it. I have shared it on our podcast, Becoming a Mommy. I will link that in the description. But what I noticed is that what I was asked now is something that I haven't talked about before, and that's the reason why I'm talking about it now. And if you're wondering, yes, I'm just waking up. It's not actually the time I'm supposed to wake up. It's a Saturday. I'm supposed to wake up somewhere around 7, but I have a little guy who decided, he wasn't going to be accustomed to the time, so I decided, it's a perfect time to actually record. So you might hear him in the background. He's somewhere playing. But yeah, so I was asked to share about when I found out about the gender of my baby. And I realized that the question was a little bit more complicated. So I was asked if I ever had gender disappointment when I found out about the gender of my baby. And it had me thinking, because I wanted to say that I never had any gender disappointment, but there was. It was stupid at the time, but I feel like this is something that a lot of moms actually experience, and I'm not scared to admit that there was a bit of a disappointment, and I will explain why. So, just for you to understand, let me give you a background of how I found out about the gender of my baby. I never was meant to find out until the day I gave birth. That was what I wanted. I wanted it to be a surprise because I didn't want to feel a certain way towards, my baby before they were born. Because I feel like at the moment I felt everything that I feel, the baby feels as well. And I think when he started getting active in my tummy, there were moments when I was sad, and you could tell that it was also affecting my pregnancy as well, because days when I was sad, I couldn't feel him kick. And when I was jovial and happy, that was when he was the most active. So I just felt like, knowing the gender and being disappointed and having those feelings would affect him as well. So what happened was, I think it was in my 8th month. Yeah, so it was in the 3rd trimester. I needed to go for my routine checkup, and we had a thing with my best friend where she would come pick me up at home, and then would go to the hospital. I'd get checked up, and then she'd drop me at work, and life would go on. So the best friend I'm talking about is the one in China, Ida. So on that specific day, Ida picked me up. We went to the hospital, and it was meant to be quick. Of course, it's not as quick, because what normally happened was, if you never went to the hospital with a spouse, it meant that you'd have to wait for all the women that were there with their spouses. So the situation would be, you'd have to wait for all the women with their spouses or their partners for them to get checked up first before you were checked up. And at the time, that was very normal. Excuse my child. It was very normal. So we waited, and then my turn came up. I went into the room, and they start filling me up. Now, it wasn't the kind where they're going to check what's actually good. There's no scanning. What the midwives would do would just fill your tummy, make sure that everything is fine, and then off you go. So they start feeling my tummy to see where the position of the baby was and whatnot. And I then get told, how many kids are you having? And I'm like, last I checked, I'm only meant to have one. Why? She's like, are you sure? And I'm like, yes, I am positive. And then you could tell she was confused, you know? And next thing you know, she's like, give me 1 second. Don't move. Don't do anything. I'll be right back. I'm like, I'm not going to move anyway. So I'm there naked, waiting for this woman to come back and attend back to me. She comes back and she's with a colleague. And she's just like, you feel her. And the colleague starts filling me up as well. And she's like, are you sure you're only having one? I'm like, yeah, why? She's like, okay, so here's the situation.
We can feel the head of the child right at the bottom, which means that he has turned himself and is ready to be born. However, there is another thing we're feeling right at the top, and we're not sure if it's another head, so we're assuming you might have twins.
And I was confused. I was so confused because I was like, what do you mean? I've had a scan before. I've been told it's one baby. What do you mean it's two? They're like,
it might not be two. We're just suspecting. So, in order for you to get ready, would advise you to have another scan done. See if it's actually two babies that you're carrying or if it's one.
And on that specific day, I got so confused because I was like, I'm in my eighth month. Like, this is my final trimester. If it does happen that I'm having twins, how am I going to start getting ready for the second one? Because I've only gotten ready for one, you know? I was so confused. I did not know how I felt. So I got outside, I go back in the car, and my best friend is like, oh, did everything go well? And I'm just like, they're suspecting I might have twins. And you could tell she was confused as well. She's like, so what do we do? I'm like, I need to go for a scanning. That's number one. And I need to tell my mom. So the first thing I did, I called my mom before we started off. I'm like, Mom, they say I might be having twins. Now, my mom and I had already had the conversation because she was just telling me that, you know, I could possibly be in line to having twins because my mom had a twin at some point and she passed. That's why my middle name is Louisa, because I was given the name from that. And then from my dad's side of the family, his younger brothers are twins. So my mom was just like, we both have twins from our families, so you might be in line to have twins. And I was just like, well, I guess what my mom was saying came true. I called my mom. My mom was confused as well. And you could tell her BP got shot up because she was just like, you guys come pick me up. We're going to the clinic right now. We're getting scanned. And I was like, cool. So we left where I did my normal checkups, went to pick her up from her salon, and then went straight to another clinic to get a scan done. And once I got there, I knew the guy. I had been going there for a while for all my scanning needs. So he's like, what are you doing here? And I started explaining the situation, and it's just like, no.
The last time I checked you when you were having one child, I didn't see twins there.
And I'm like, but they said. He's like, no.
No, it's not possible. But just to be sure you're calm and, you know, it doesn't make you, you know, like your BP get up or whatever, get high. Let's get the scan done.
We got the scan done, and he confirmed it was just one baby. So that was a relief. But in that moment, he then goes,
oh, look at him.
And my mom goes, what? And he's like, look
at him.
And my mom is like, it's a boy. And he's like,
I just say to him.
You could tell he had this matter-of-fact face, like, I just said it's a boy. My mom's like, you're sure? And he's like,
yeah, you're having a grandson.
My mom started dancing. Like, you could tell she was ululating and dancing and doing whatnot. And I got annoyed because I was like, I didn't want to know. Like, why? But at the moment, I was just like, he didn't know I didn't want to know. And when I got there, I didn't make a mention that I didn't want to know. So he couldn't have assumed I didn't want to know. I think he assumed I already knew. And so I think it started coming back to me because months prior, I had a lot of women tell me, you're carrying a boy, because of some of the things that were happening to me. Me and Evan's dad were not really agreeable at the time, and they were just like, yeah, this happens when you're having a boy. There were so many things that were happening. The things I was eating, every single time someone saw what I was eating, they were just like, are you having a boy? And I was like, I don't know. They're like, yeah, from whatever you're eating, you're definitely having a boy. And my face was, it was ugly. I had this huge tummy. So I clicked all the old wife tales of having a boy, and it happened. So I know sometimes they say, oh, it doesn't work. Apparently it does sometimes to certain people. Me being certain people. Now, coming on to why I got disappointed a little bit. I think I wanted a girl, but for the wrong reasons. Let me make it clear. I wanted a girl, but for the wrong reasons. I feel like I saw my mom raise me as a single parent, and I knew I was also heading on to the same route of being a single parent. So in my head, I was just like, it's very easy, or it would be easier for me to be in the same situation like my mom was, raising a girl, because I kind of saw the bond that my mom and I have. We sometimes act like sisters, sometimes we're like best friends, sometimes we hate each other's guts, but like we have a weird bond towards each other, and I just felt like I wanted the same thing. Like that was the reason why I wanted a girl. Another reason was each and every time, like I said, that me and Evan's dad weren't really agreeable at the time. I don't know. But we weren't. So there were a lot of I think family members, women, that would be like, oh, he's going to so love him if it's a boy. If it's a boy, they're going to be best friends because, you know, he gets to like continue the line, and I'm assuming name like the surname. And it pissed me off a bit because it felt like, oh, the only reason why he's going to be loved is because, you know, he's turned out to be a boy. If it's going to be a girl, then it's just, oh, she's going to get married off. What do I care? And at a point, it kind of started waking up the traumas that I have personally, because I am a girl raised by a single mom, and my relationship with my dad when I was a kid especially was strained. So it started giving me questions like, is this why this happened to me? You know, like, is this the reason why this happened? Is it because I was a girl that, you know, I never got to experience this with my own father? I didn't think I'd get emotional now, but you kind of start getting the traumatic experiences that you feel like you buried away that come back just because, you know. And I actually feel for like a lot of pregnant people that go through such situations, because it's not something that's like, I feel like when people say it, they don't really think there is something at the back of your head that might just get awakened, you know. So there were moments where I was just like, so he's only going to get loved because it's a boy. If it's a girl, then, you know, she'll get abandoned. And so yeah, I felt like those were like some of the main reasons why I wanted a girl. But at the same time, there was a little part of me that wanted a boy so much, because I wanted my mom to have that experience of raising a boy because I knew it was going to be shared responsibility between her and I. So I wanted her to have, like that chance to raise a boy because she's raised me. she raised me, okay, but I wanted her to have that experience of raising a boy. And every single time now when I look at her with him and the joy she has, it makes me happier every single time because I don't think I've ever seen my mom as happy as the way she is now being a grandmom. And every single time I thank God that, I've gotten to experience that and that my son is able to experience her love as well. And while she's active also. But yeah, I was disappointed for a bit. But I think when you have the baby, you just when he was actually born and it was right there, he was a boy, I was just like, I don't care. It didn't matter to me, what would happen. It didn't matter to me. I realized that if it was going to be a girl, I was going to love her for the wrong reasons. And it was going to be for stupid things like, oh my God, she's 1 or she's 2 and we're wearing matching clothes, and stuff like that. But having a little man in the house, it just it changes the dynamic. So 1 year after having a baby, how do I feel about it? I'm happy. I really am. I feel like what God decided to do was he decided to paste his dad's face on his face. It's just like, this is yeah, you're like your father's child. But he definitely gave him my personality. And it is scary to see myself in him because this child is stubborn as hell, and I know I am stubborn. He is so stubborn, and he's only 1 year old, but it's in the most adorable way. And he is the most happiest person I've ever seen, which kind of makes me happy a lot. He makes me smile a lot. I'll tell you that. So 1 year later, I really don't care. I honestly don't care. I think the last question the person asked me was if I would want a different gender if I had another baby. I don't know if I want more kids. I honestly have no idea. But if I did, I don't think I would care, again, what gender I'd be given. I've already experienced that with the first baby, like, having the turnarounds and whatnot. But I don't think I would care. But at the time, one thing that I made sure was I was ready for, like, both babies. So even, like, with the clothes I was buying, there were some that were girlish, there were some that were boyish. Just so if it's whatever gender, and I had gender neutral clothes. I think I had a lot of neutral clothes where it was like, whatever gender comes through, they'll wear this. I was ready with, like, the names, because I remember I even told the dad, I was just like, if it's a boy, it's going to be Evan Manuel, and if it's a girl, it's going to be Ayanda. And it was going to be Ayanda Manuela to honor my mom's sister who passed. But yeah, those were going to be the names. So I was ready for both genders. So yeah, that's it. 1 year later, I am as happy as I can never be. But I would definitely say the only thing that made me disappointed was because there was a lot of trauma that was stuck up in my brain that pretty much came forward at the time. So to answer the question, did I ever get gender disappointed? Yes and no. I was just halfway there. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Do not forget to subscribe, because a whole bunch of you are not subscribed yet. So please don't forget to subscribe, like the video, comment what you think. If you're a mom, do tell. Did you ever get gender disappointed too? Nobody's going to judge. It's all love here. I'll see you guys in the next video.